Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The important news and editorial that would be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 9th of June. The first important news, that is new generation ballistic missile Agni Prime. Second, Reserve Bank of India allow first loss default guarantee framework. Third, EV two-wheelers vehicle firm express financial stress. Second last, again news from the RBI. RBI MPC hold key policy rates. And the last is an editorial getting railway safety back on track after the Odisha incident that took place in the Ballistic area. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming examination. So without any further ado, let's get started. And if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this content helpful for examination purposes, do hit that like button. Starting the session with the first news, that is new generation ballistic missile Agni Prime. Something important for general studies paper 3 and the mains paper, that is achievement of India in science and technology and Indianization of technology. So recently, Indian space research, if you see the part of the space organization and even talking about the advantages that India is having. So India has successfully carried out night launch of the new generation nuclear capable ballistic missile, and the name of this missile is Agni Prime from Abdul Kalam Island off coast of Odisha. So one thing that is very important, that this is a new generation nuclear capable ballistic missile which was launched at night. So these facilities has been augmented in terms of the missile. As per the official statement, during the flight test, all objectives were successfully demonstrated and DRDO has successfully built this and even carried out the operations. So launch की अगर बात करें, this was the first night launch conducted by the users, and after 3 successful development trials of the mission, that is validating the accuracy and reliability of the system, the pre-induction night launch of Agni Prime was successfully tested by the DRDO, that is Defense Research and Development Organization. So this can be again a possible statement in the prelims examination or any other competitive examination that you'll be appearing for. Now about the Agni Prime or Agni P, these are used synonymously. It's a nuclear capable new generation advanced variant of the Agni class of the missile. There are total of 5 Agni that is operating in India, and the 2-stage constrained missile with a maximum range of 2000 km. It weighed 50% less than the Agni 3 missile and has a new guidance and propulsion system. So जितने भी features हैं missiles के, this is very important, and nowadays it has become very important for the prelims examination also. And if you are an aspirant who are preparing for CAPF examination, aspirants के लिए इस तरह के question, and even if you are preparing for CDS, this is very important that directly ask question in this. Now moving to the news, Reserve Bank allow first loss default guarantee framework, something important for general studies paper 3 in mains, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource, growth and development. So the Reserve Bank of India has allowed the first loss default guarantee arrangement between the regulated entities and the lending service provider for digital lending. So this is something important to ensure that the first loss default guarantee which is there by any entity would be given some relaxation. The announcement was made during the bi-monthly monetary policy outcome that was there by the RBI. और जो मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी रिलीज हुई है उसकी पॉलिसी रेट्स के बारे में भी मैं आपके साथ नेक्स्ट न्यूज़ में डिस्कस करूँगा. Now, guideline for digital lenders, the Reserve Bank of India have issued a loss default guaranteed guideline for the digital lender, or you can say the fintech companies that is operating in India. In India, precisely, if you see the part of the payment that is made through the digital way, it is on the surge, and India is a country which has highest number of digital transactions. The central bank has allowed 5% of the default loss cover for the bank fintech deals. And under the FLDG, the credit risk sharing of the third party guaranteed to the compensation and cut certain percentage of loan portfolio from the regulated entities that include both bank as well as the non-banking financial companies. Now, according to the new guideline that has come up with the RBI, जो entities होंगे, they will be enter into the default loss guaranteed agreement only with the lending services provider and entities with which it has entered with an outstanding arrangement. तो कुछ guideline दी गई है जहाँ पे ये allowed होंगी. Further, the lending service provider, that is the LSP or you can say the fintech companies providing a default loss guarantee must be incorporated under the Company Act of 2013. Very important point. You can expect a direct question and prelims from this point as well. Now, indicated these entities can accept a default loss guarantee form in each cash deposited with the entities, चाहे वो fixed deposit के maintain में हो, even scheduled commercial bank with a lean market in favor of entities and bank guaranteed in favor of the registered entities. Now, advantages की अगर बात करें, FLDG schemes allows India's fintech to partner with the bank and NBFC. The decision is seen as a big positive from the data tech NBFCs and fintechs. Further, the move will strengthen the digital lending ecosystem, and this is considered as a major relief to the fintech technologies companies who are seeking clarity on the lending arrangements with the bank and non-banking financial companies. So these are the major advantages that India will have, and even the part of the fintech company that is operating, जो गाइडलाइंस आई हैं आरबीआई की तरफ से, वो कहीं ना कहीं फिनटेक कंपनीज को हेल्प भी करेगी. Now, moving to the other news, EV two-wheelers firms express financial stress. This is important for General Studies Paper 2, that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementations. So before I start the discussion on this news, just to tell you, government ने EV को promote करने के लिए काफ़ी हद तक schemes भी लाई. Even the PLI schemes are also working here and there to help out this sector. But again, the concern is coming out directly from the stakeholders and concerning the fact that they are in the financial stress. Now, why we are discussing this news? Because the electric vehicle producer have sought the finance minister interventions, क्योंकि जो financial stress है वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा बढ़ चुकी है, and even they have released, the delay in 1,200 crore rupees as a subsidy which was due for the EV manufacturers. Government ने subsidies की बात की थी, which is again pending, and the due has to be credited. That is on pending part, which was supposed to be credited for the stakeholders and even for the companies that are building it. The producers have highlighted that the bank has not stopped extended the credit to the firms and the loss is piling up. The Secretary General of the Society for Manufacturing of Electric Vehicles Secretary ने कहा that जो subsidies आनी थी government की तरफ से, it has been due from the Ministry of Heavy Steel and Enterprises. This is a nodal ministry which is taking care for the FAME scheme. मैं आपको इसके tell you the part of the FAME in the later part of the one. The ministry has also sought the return for the subvention paid by FAME 2 scheme. Companies has been asking for a refund of their money, which they have to actually refund to the customer, because ultimately the product that is being sold, so an individual, that is a showroom or the company that is selling, and the consumer, they have to adjust it, right? So government will, until and unless release the part, the beneficiaries will definitely be on a they will be not getting the actual benefit. तो ये ज़रूरी है कि गवर्नमेंट वो जो सब्सिडीज़ के अमाउंट है उन्हें रिलीज़ करे, so that the beneficiaries whomsoever is there should be actually benefited, and manufacturers ultimately should have a cushion on that. Now, FAME 2 scheme के लिए बारे में, you need to know something very basics about it. So way back in 2019, the government has approved this particular scheme, which was named as the faster adaptation for the manufacturing of electric vehicle phase 2. This called for the promotion of electric mobility in the country, and some of the salient features include allocations of 10,000 crore rupees for the period of 3 years, that is from 19 to 2022, and allocation of 1,000 crore rupees has been set aside for charging station for the electric vehicles. It has been proposed by providing slowing charges for every electric bus, first charging, and for 10 electric buses. So there will be different location where it was supposed to be set up, but substantial progress has not been yet made. The central government will incentivize the purchase of approximately 5 lakh three-wheelers and 7 7,000 electric buses and 35,000 four-wheelers. So these were some of the target under the FAME2 scheme. Now, the Reserve Bank MPC, that is the Monetary Policy Committee, hold key policy rates. Something important for General Studies Paper 3, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource, growth and development. So the Monetary Policy Committee of the Reserve Bank of India, we have recently met. They met for the biannual meeting, bi-monthly meeting that is taking place. And the decision was taken regarding the repo rate, or RBI ने decide किया है that there will be no change in the repo rate at present. This will be there at 6.5%. So the decision was taken unanimously by the committee members. और जो अगर बात करें GDP की, the forecast for the GDP is unchanged at 6.5%. However, the inflation for 2024 has been lowered marginally to 5.1% to 5.2% early. The RBI has also retained the GDP growth forecast to 6.5% and expect that the CPI inflation is at 5.1%. So these data on a monthly basis is again, for twice a month, it is relevant for your examination also. Now, what is headline inflation? And for the part of the headline inflation that actually RBI is taken into consideration. So the Reserve Bank of India said that the CPI headline inflation is projected to be 5.1%. And he said that the Indian economy in the financial sector come out to be strong and resilient. The performance of the sector is doing well. Even post-COVID, the part of the sectors is recovering. It will take another year or two to complete the part of the piece. The domestic macroeconomics fundamental are strengthening. The current account deficit is expected to have moderated and remain eminently manageable in 2023 and 24. The rupee remained stable in January this year, and the Indian foreign exchange reserve stood up to 595 billion on June 2023. So reserve जितनी भी forex reserves हैं, current वो आपको पता होनी चाहिए what is the current value. So the current is $595.1 billion. Now moving to the editorial of the day, getting railway safety back on track after Odisha accident. Something important for General Studies Paper 2, bilateral regional grouping and agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. So what are the issues under this editorial? First, the theme is about the railway safety. Again, we'll see the issues like possible cause, subject of double investigation, strengthening the access to railway, and the way forward. You have come across the news, and I have also made a discussion about the Odisha incident. But through this editorial, through this article, we'll try to understand some of the other precise information that is relevant for examination. Now the collision, the train which collided in the part of the Ballistic region, the part where most of the people have died. The number for the current figure is plus 350. So this incident took place in 2nd of June this month, where two passengers train has collided with getting with the wrong signaling. The first train entered into the loop. तो बहुत सारी ऐसे problems identify की गई हैं from the signaling system where this train was actually traveling, right? And this incident is considered to be the part of the incident which has never took place in past 20 years. तो ये काफ़ी बड़ी train accident थी जो कि report की गई है उड़ीसा के बालासोर. Now the key question is that how the panelists have failed to address the part which is actually not convincing, because हमें बहुत सारे चीज़ों को देखने की ज़रूरत है और इस कैटास्ट्रॉफे के बाद सबसे बड़ी ज़रूरत ये है that we should understand a lesson that these type of thing should not happen again, right? So that is the main lesson that we should learn, and we should not always criticize for the incident. We should always have a looking forward attitude so that we can learn from the lessons. Now possible causes अगर बात करें, the first is about the interlocking system which was there. तो interlocking के बारे में काफ़ी बात की गई है because there's a logic gate that exists. There are some technicalities which is there, but again this has missed out. So railway में जो tracking system है, that is again something working on a digitalized mode also. कई जगह पे fully digitalized है, and to some area it is on a manual way also, right? So in case interlocking की अगर बात करें, some overridden manual intervention is also there. So in this case both were working simultaneously. तो कुछ manually भी regulate हो रही थी and some of them were also regulating centralized. Now the two causes, the first is that most likely that the signal maintainer who have access to the equipment in the relay room have actually not expedited the process and he has missed out with the interlocking part of the process that was actually required. The reason being the passenger tier enter into the loop line. So loop line में enter करने की वजह से, I mean, the train which is traveling, I mean, this has entered into the loop line and they actually made a collision. Now, the second instance is that Indian Railways seems to believe that the handiwork of the steward with the criminal intention of the incident. क्या किसी ने जानबूझ के इस तरह की चीजों को की है? We have to understand the fact. Now, subject of the double investigation, definitely the incident called for a investigation, a serious investigation, where we should identify if there is any, I mean, intentionally involvement which is done. So first is the statutory proof by the Commissions of Railway Safety, and the conditions for the Central Bureau of Investigation is unprecedented move by the government. So see, I mean, government is taking its utmost caution, but I personally feel that the first identification, whether it's I mean technical lack और अगर कोई मैन पावर की कमी से हुई है या फिर ऐसे टेक्निकल ग्लिचेस जिसको और अच्छी होनी चाहिए उसकी वजह से हुई है, सो द आइडेंटिफाइड रीजन शुड बी देयर. इन्वेस्टिगेशन इज डेफिनेटली अ वे आउट, बट हमें अपने जो खामियां हैं उन्हें भी आइडेंटिफाई करने की जरूरत है. Whatever being be the finding, it is not premature to examine the question that it has raised the questions above the level. Now, strengthening the access to system, by extending the system I mean जो हमारी सारी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ें हैं उसे हमें स्ट्रेंथन करने की ज़रूरत है. वी नीड टू इनेबल आवरसेल्फ विद द प्रेजेंट generations technology, whether it is a mobile phone, IT applications, and even digitalization that is occurring in the rail safety. जो best practices, global practices है उन्हें हमें incorporate करने की ज़रूरत है, whether it is from our IIT or either from other global institute. We definitely need to work upon it. Right, there is certain inquiry that should look into that, and merely identifying the culprit will not solve this problem. अगर आइडेंटिफाई भी हो जाती है किस वजह से प्रॉब्लम हुई, किस ह्यूमन एरर की वजह से, तो क्या वो दोबारा उस चीज़ को करने से, आई मीन दैट अकरेंस विल बी स्टॉप? डेफिनेटली नॉट. वी हैव टू हैव अ फुल प्रूफ सिस्टम वेयर वी आर एक्चुअली वर्किंग. Now, towards the devising the part of the SIST system, we actually need to begin with earnest without waiting for the inquiry and reports. And it is important to accept the general reductions in the accident rate with a result that have a positive impact on eliminations of unmanned level of crossing, as well as improve the part of renewable track and maintenance system. Now, the way forward or the conclusion can be definitely that the possible of Kavach, which is the rail safety signaling system, ये सिर्फ एक solution नहीं है. Definitely this is something a solution, but हमें इसे और बढ़ाने की ज़रूरत है. That system was not operational to an extent where it has been messed up, right? तो अगर और जगह पे जिस तरह से Southern Railways, Southern West Railways में काफ़ी हद तक इसकी expansion है, especially to the Secunderabad region, we need to increase it on a more regional area so that we are working कुछ level of preventions तो कम से कम होनी चाहिए. Now, there's no dirt fund with the capex investment in the central government with Indian Railways with an extraordinary high. So the investment and even the part of allocation for the budget specifically for the signaling system should be dedicatedly there. और अगर जो मीटिंग्स की बात करें रिव्यू मीटिंग की, तो रेल सेफ्टी को लेकर के देयर शुड बी ऑलवेज अ रिव्यू मीटिंग. Therefore, one can ask to make that Indian Railways much safer than it's today, और ये सारी चीज़ें स्टेक होल्डर्स को ट्रस्ट में लेकर के होंगी, गवर्नमेंट के पॉजिटिव इंटेंशन के साथ हो सकती है. So this is how you can conclude your answers if you're writing a question on the rail safety. Now, moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option was C. This was the correct option. For second, also the correct option was C. Today's MCQ for practice is about the Central Bureau of Investigation. It's a statutory body established under the Special Police Establishment Act. It's a nodal agency which coordinates investigate on behalf of Interpol member countries, and it can have a suo motu investigation part of the offences. So do check out for the correct option. The second question is about the sugar industry mill. It is the largest producer of export sugar in the world, and the government of India has been encouraging the sugar mill to divert the ethanol blending. So you can check out for the correct option. Practicing a good number of questions before any examination is an added advantage for an aspirant. We have a lot more other platforms where questions are being published on a daily basis. You can practice them accordingly. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.